Meryl Streep, anybody who saw French Lieutenant's Woman had a crush on her. I assume everybody remembers that. I'm ad-libbing here a little bit.
It's a quote from First Wives Club.
You were referencing...
That Midler was talking about a globe. I can't believe nobody's ever done it before, where she says, look what it says. It says, I beat Meryl.
Right.
And it was so perfect, and I said it, and I had no idea Lindsay Lohan would take to the Twitterverse. Is that what they call it, the Twitter?
I'll take your word.
I'm not on Twitter, but yeah. Twitter is a very upset.
So are you, but you're not in trouble, are you? They're not going to take your award away.
Oh, God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like, well, first of all, it's Meryl Streep. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't, you can't.
It was an allusion to that
Meryl
movie.
Streep.
And Bette Midler goes into Goldie Hawn's apartment.
Yeah.
And she picks up the award,
yeah,
and she says,
look what
it says.
Look what it says.
I beat Meryl. That's what you were saying.
And that's what I said.
And all of a sudden,
and then all of a sudden, I hate Meryl Streep.
Exactly.
It's like...
You've been gunning for her.
Yeah. I was like, is that what this turned into? I don't like Meryl Streep? As if, like, I've had my eyes on getting that girl forever,
yeah.
And I was like, finally!
Yeah. Take her down a couple of notches.
I knew it would happen one day.
Have you heard from Ms. Streep?
No, I don't know if I want to. I don't know what...
Well, of course. She can take a joke, for God's sake.
I'm sure she hasn't heard.
What about these
she doesn't
dopes
care.
that don't get the joke? What about those dopes?
I know. I wanted to make a public statement like, hey, idiots. It's a quote from a movie, and it's Meryl Streep.
But, you know, Meryl Streep, I'm sorry. She's the greatest. And she does something that's beyond acting, honestly. It's really a transcendent experience watching her work.
Es mejor hacer las preguntas otra vez en español.
Yes. He said, working with Meryl Streep, is that fun or competition between both of you? And secondly, could you talk about the film Lincoln that you've just shot with, you've just shot with Steven Spielberg? Thank you. That was the questions. I remember them. Thank you.
Every minute of every day working with Meryl is a total joy. Competition is out of the question. I don't think she would want to compete with me. And I would certainly never compete with her. Such an idea would be vulgar compared to what we're able to do when we cooperate and have fun and enjoy the process, which is what we did. The movie.
Meryl Streep was once described as a cross between a den mother and a class cut-up. I don't know who that was, but... When a reporter asked Clint Eastwood why he chose Meryl to star opposite him in The Bridges of Madison County, he shrugged and replied, she's the greatest actor in the world. At 15, Meryl won the role of Marion the Librarian, there's a theme here, in her high school's production of The Music Man, following the footsteps of her idol Barbara Cook. That led to Yale Drama School and then to Hollywood, where Meryl won 2 Oscars in 4 years. And then she turned 38, which in Washington at least, according to Meryl, is the sell-by date for Hollywood actresses. And she remembers turning to her husband Don and saying, well, it's over. Luckily, it was not over. Since then, Meryl has tackled incredibly complex roles, ranging from Julia Child to most recently Margaret Thatcher. Today, she's the most nominated actress in the history of the Academy Awards. She's tossed aside more than a few stereotypes along the way. Each of her roles is different, and different from what we expect Meryl Streep to be. As she says, I've picked the weirdest little group of personalities, but I think they've all deserved to have a life. For giving life to those characters and joy to so many of us. Let's give Meryl Streep a round of applause.
You're also going to be working with Meryl Streep soon?
Yes.
What's the movie?
Did I just say that's right? Did I show my panic? Yes, I'm so, it's a dream. I am getting a little...
You really, wow.
Well, it's Meryl Streep.
She's just the top.
She is. She's the perfection of all kind of artistic attempts. she's everything.
Wow, she
in
really
one.
does move you.
Yes. Well, and she's also a great human being. So the combination of being able to get to know her even better as a person, as well as watch her unravel a very complex, intense character, for that, I can't wait.
And you got to work with her daughter as well, Grace. And
Yes.
I read that she made you feel better about raising children in kind of a reflected spotlight.
Well, she was one of my students in Larry Crown, and one day the kids were there, and she was watching them, and we were all kind of hanging out and chatting, and when the kids left, she came over and she said, you know, seeing you with your kids reminded me of when I was little and I would visit my mom at work. And suddenly I thought, here's a great point of view. I said, what was that like? When did you know that your mom was Meryl Streep, and how did you feel, and how did you discover it? And I just started picking her brain, and in the end, she seemed very happy, and
she turned out pretty great.
I mean, and she's such an awesome girl anyway, but she really remembered it very fondly, so that gave me great comfort.
I like everything Meryl does. I like watching her come to work. I don't care. I like everything about her. I like watching her drink coffee. I don't care what she does. She can do no wrong in my eyes.
A few times.
We met at the Academy Awards when he was nominated, and I just, if you haven't seen Half Nelson, you've got to see him in this. It's so good, and I've heard many people say you should have won. That was a tight category, but you were so good in that. But anyway, so your mother and your sister were there, and that must have been a big thing for you, right?
Oh, they were so excited.
Yeah.
They were so excited. I actually got too excited, you know, sort of acting like almost like they could give up on their life, you know?
Uh-huh.
Like
that
it
was
would
it?
absolve them of all their personal and social, political responsibilities. Just like now, life was over.
Yeah.
And my mom, my sweet mom, look at her hair. We went to the, she wanted to do everything right, you know? So she wanted to have her hair done by a professional. And this woman, and she's a lovely woman, let me preface the story by saying that I know her kids, she's great.
The hairdresser.
The hairdresser. But she
well,
had like a prediction.
When you're starting that way, you're not happy with the hair. I'm just saying.
I loved it.
Okay.
But she had this prediction that she thought that everyone was going to be wearing beehives. She just thought the beehives would be the thing that year.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not Kresge. I mean, you know, she
No.
did her best.
Yeah.
And she did it. My mother came out, and it looks great. I love it. But my only concern was, like, you know, I don't know, we need another ticket for it or something. You know, it's pretty big. And we went there, and not one person had a beehive.
No.
You didn't see any beehives,
No
right?
beehives.
And she's sitting next to Gwyneth Paltrow's got her hair down, and Meryl Streep's got her hair down, and poor Rachel Weisz is sitting behind.
Oh.
So Weisz or Weisz?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay, yeah. She's sitting behind us, and she's kind of like trying to get around my mother's hair. My poor mom is just like, she's mortified, and she didn't have any fun at all. And she's starting to sink down in her seat because the hair is kind of heavy, and she's getting lower like this. And they put her front row, center, you know? So it's just my mother's hair and then everything else. And at a certain point, she wasn't having fun. Like halfway through the show, I said, Ma, you know, like, this is never going to happen again, ever. So don't enjoy it. Try to find a way to enjoy it.
Right.
She's like, I can't. There's no one has beehives. And so I leaned next to Meryl Streep, who's, you know, never met before. She's probably the greatest actor ever.
Yeah.
And I said to her, listen, only you can fix the situation, I think. You know? I tell her the situation, she goes, don't worry about it. She waits for the next commercial break, and she's just kind of like, she looks over and she goes, you know, to my mom, I almost wore my hair up too, and I'm so jealous. I wish I had. It was
That is
great.
So
and my
sweet.
mother was, she lost it. And it's just proof that Meryl Streep, if you ever wanted to know, she's awesome.
She really is, but that's so sweet that you did that, too. That's sweet you did it.
Every day of this movie, I'm sure you're referring to Hope Springs.
Yeah, of course.
Every day of this movie was a pure joy. It was, you don't often wake up every morning of your life for an extended period of time smiling and grinning because of what's before you that day. Sometimes you're bored, sometimes you're filled with dread. Only on occasion are you really happy about what's going to be happening to you that day. But when you go to work on a movie with Meryl Streep, you're all smiles all day long. There wasn't anything difficult about it. Of course, everybody worked as hard as they could all day long, every day, but that's not hard if you love it.